and my inspiration. And I can tell you that you will never meet a more generous and contributive man than Steven Spielberg. Please welcome.
It's a thrill being here tonight. Thank you so much. So, in the world of physics, the universe was formed by what's been called the Big Bang. One flash of cosmic brilliance that lit up the heavens and created all the stars and all the planets. But in the world of culture, we experienced another Big Bang when W.K.L. Dixon in 1892, working under the auspices of Thomas Edison, invented the kinetoscope, which is the first motion picture camera. So in 24 flashes of brilliance each second, the movies were born. And if the movies are like lightning, then the music written for those movies is thunder, because there is no better marriage of mediums than film and music. Silent era, D.W. Griffith and Charlie Chaplin and Max Sennett, they knew this better than anyone. In those pre-jazz singer days before talking pictures, all they had were silent, flickering images and this piano off to the side of the screen, which accompanied the story and cued us when to laugh and maybe when to cry and maybe even when to scream and hide our eyes. And it was during this arranged marriage of image and music that your grandparents and great-grandparents, and maybe perhaps even a few of you here, first fell in love with the movies. And how far we've come. And how lucky we are to have the preeminent maestro of film music himself, John Williams, performing in with his friends and my friends in the Los Angeles Philharmonic, whom we are honored to be hearing from tonight. Thank you.
Figure it out.
It's a privilege and it's a responsibility when telling stories about our collective history. Because there's no rules when a story rolls off my imagination, but when a story comes from the archives of scholarly research and public records, I have to take a more tempered approach, and as does John, when he's finding about what to say musically about the Holocaust or World War II or 19th century American history. So here now is the music John wrote to underscore Abraham Lincoln's second inaugural address in our film Lincoln, featuring the orchestra's principal trumpet, Thomas Hood. So what I'd like to do right now is I'd like to take you all behind the scenes to give you some idea of the way John and I work together. So what we thought we'd do is you'll experience first a scene the way John first saw it with no music at all. You're only going to see edited shots, some occasional, sound effects and dialogue. And the example I want to share with you tonight is the opening sequence from the third Indiana Jones movie, The Last Crusade.
Yes. Is Sean Connery here?
This is the one where River Phoenix plays Indiana Jones young. And because you'll see this with no music, it will probably seem a lot longer than any of you ever remembered the sequence. And so when we get through it, if you can get through it without music, we'll go back to the beginning and John and the LA Phil will perform his score in exact tempo and in sync with all the decorations and all of the little moments that John typically does to turn a kind of flat dry sea of mine into something a lot better than it could ever be without his gifts. So let's just watch this. This goes faster if you have beer or wine. back here! This is starting to feel like a Sundance film. I love Sundance movies, by the way, don't get me wrong. This is where Indy got his phobia of snakes. This is where it all began. This is the first time we introduced the whip. And now, please experience how John makes me look so good. Let's watch this with John's score. It wasn't so bad, right? You know, from the very beginning of the medium, swashbuckling adventure stories were everybody's first choice. And back then, Douglas Fairbanks and Errol Flynn, Basil Rathbone, Tyrone Power, Gene Kelly, and more recently Johnny Depp, they've all made contributions to this genre. And I even took a swing at pirates and swordplay with two movies that I directed. One was called Hook, and the other one was called Tintin. So here for all the Hook fans is something from Tintin, though. This is a piece of music that John wrote called The Duel, and we've enlisted the help of some Hollywood heavyweights, from the silent pictures to the IMAX movies of now, to illustrate for you why swashbuckling in some form will never die. Most of our films have demanded an almost operatic accompaniment, which is fitting for movies like Indiana Jones and Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and also Jaws. But each of us had to depart from our characteristic styles to honor a story of the Shoah, Schindler's List. And John and I are celebrating our 45th year working together as director and composer this year. I really feel that this score for Schindler's List is one of the most stunningly evocative gifts John has ever given to us. And joining John in honoring the memory of the Shoah is soloist Bing Wang. So, what's tonight been all about? It's been to celebrate how music, film music, gives every moment on the screen a lift. John's music directs all the traffic of our emotions. So when a staggering performance fills our eyes with tears, the appropriate score can make them fall. I can direct bicycles to fly, but music truly makes them airborne. And that's what fills us with wonder. And that's the miracle of our shared mediums, and that's where E.T. got his soul. So here now, the finale of the motion picture, E.T. the Extraterrestrial.